With the first double game week of the season being announced, I thought I'd put together an ultimate guide to help you and your team. I thought I'd start off today's video taking a look at the game week itself. As you can see on screen, it is between Burnley and Luton, as their game was postponed in double game week 2 and has now been moved into game week 7. And as you can see, it is a very nice kind of double for one team in particular, and that is Luton. Everton and Burnley at home is definitely a double we want to be targeting. I don't think the Burnley kind of side of it. Newcastle away is an extremely difficult fixture, and they haven't been too impressive either, conceding quite a lot of goals, haven't looked as fluid as they did as well in the Championship. So I don't think, for me, it's going to be something that I'm going to be targeting on the Burnley side. I think unless their performances pick up in the next few weeks, which they easily could. You know, Vincent Kompany, a very good manager. They've got kind of a young, talented squad. There might be players that do emerge over the next couple of weeks that we potentially want to take a look at. But at the moment, at the time of recording, I don't think there are any Burnley players that I am potentially going to be looking to target. There's one that I do have in mind at the moment. We will come on to talk about players that I would be looking to target in a minute. But from the offset, I think the double that you should be targeting, or the side of the double that you should be targeting, is definitely the Luton side. Everton, they have been extremely poor in the opening couple game weeks, haven't really been scoring goals, leaking a lot at the back as well. Couldn't even beat Sheffield United, and everybody's beating them. A 2-2 draw in the end of that result. Obviously, I know there was the Pickford own goal, which was a little bit fluky. You know, maybe Everton should have potentially got more out of that game, but it's looking like it's going to be a long season for them. Luton, by this point, you imagine, hopefully have acclimatised to the Premier League, started picking up some positive results with the good kind of fixtures that they have from game week 5 up until game week 7 as well. You do imagine that they're going to pick up some points, hopefully gain some confidence going into that double game week. But like I said, I definitely feel like Luton is the side of this double that we are going to want to be targeting, to be honest. They're the better of the two fixtures. Newcastle, it's not the easiest, and it's probably not worth banking on other players, especially with Burnley's fixtures not being great going into it or after the double game week as well. But let's move on to talk about players that I would potentially be looking to target for this double game week. Starting off with my number one priority, a player that I'm personally looking to get into my own team for game week 5, and it's the start of Morris season. Carlton Morris season, ladies and gentlemen. It's here. 1 goal, 1 assist for him so far. Okay XG, okay XA, 5.5 million and only 1.4% owned. These are the kind of players that you need to be taking full advantage of in these double game weeks and with good fixtures beforehand, because honestly they could have a massive improvement on your rank. He's a 90-minute man. He's on penalties as well. He is going to be a lot of people's prime target for this game week. He's been kind of the standout performer of both of these clubs so far as well. With the penalty assets as well, you know how much I love having players who take penalties, so I definitely think he is the one that you want to be going for. And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, it's Carlton Morris season, so get in early on that hype train. The other player that I've identified from Burnley, and the only player that I've identified from the Burnley squad at the moment, is Lyle Foster. Has made an okay start to life in the Premier League. 2 goals for him, leading the way in kind of all these players at the moment and across both clubs for XG at 1.29. Not really too much to write home about in terms of XA, but has, you know, scored 2 goals. Hopefully, you know, we can see a little bit more from him. A little bit cheaper than Morris as well. I don't quite know who the Burnley penalty taker is, but I don't think it is Foster. 0.6 owned, so I think I'd rather spend that extra 0.5 million, get the good fixtures going into game week 7 and the better fixtures as well in game week 7. So going for Morris makes more sense to me, rather than just trying to save 0.5 million on a player who I don't think is as good or has that potential of penalties or kind of scoring on a regular basis. Morris absolutely smashed the Championship last year, getting 20 plus goals in that league as well. So I definitely think he is the one that you want to be going for. The other player that I've outlined, there isn't too much talent. I know a lot of people have Kabore or Bell. I think they're already in a lot of people's teams. So I definitely think the other player that you might potentially want to go for if you don't fancy Morris or Foster is Marvellous Nakamba. Now, he's not in here just for his great name. He is in here because he's just 4.4 million. He's one of these like Harrison Reed last year, the players that play every single week, full 90-minute men. You know that they're going to play for a rock bottom price. So if you do have a 4.5 million midfielder in your team, or maybe you're looking to downgrade one of your other players to maybe free up a little bit of budget, Marvellous Nakamba could be the man that you could potentially go for. Hold him till the double, play him in that double game week. Hope he gets a return, but if not, you're at least going to get potentially 4 points out of him, which isn't the worst. Maybe you could get, 6 points out of him over that double game week. It's not the worst when you're paying 4.4 million, but I would rather go for one of Morris or Foster over Nakamba, but I have put it here as a potential option, as I just feel a lot of people already own Bell or Kabore, and the interesting thing on Kabore is he didn't actually play this weekend. He came off the bench, so that is something to potentially monitor as well. If you do have him, it might be worth just potentially switching one of your defenders around to get a Luton defender that is actually playing ball. And the final section of today's video, I thought we would talk about kind of my thoughts at the moment and kind of these things that are kind of going through my mind with double game week 7. Obviously, there is the big debate as always when double game weeks arise. Who do you captain in those? And obviously, the main man this season is Erling Haaland. He's probably got perma captain for most game weeks, so he's going to be the one that is going to be in contention with a lot of these other assets. I think the only asset that you potentially might want to captain is Morris, because the double for Luton is so good. Like I said, Everton and Burnley is a great double. Penalty taker, has already scored and assisted in the Premier League, scored 20 goals last season, but the real question mark is it worth going over him, over Erling Haaland, who, takes on Wolves? It's honestly a massive gamble. We've been here before a couple seasons ago when Watford had that double. A lot of people went Dennis and Josh King, and we all know how that one went. So I think the interesting kind of thing is, European football is back now. We are going to see a little bit more rotation within that Manchester City lineup, but Haaland is just one of those players who's so explosive against the Wolves team who, have showed signs of improvement, but I still think they're one of the teams that you want to be targeting this season with your kind of top 6 players. So I definitely think Haaland is probably going to keep the armband at the moment, unless Morris goes into that game week absolutely flying, or I've seen something, maybe his underlying data has absolutely been killing it. I think that is the only way that Morris potentially takes the armband off Haaland, but I definitely think there are going to be a lot of people having a little cheeky pun on Morris, to be honest. I definitely don't think he's triple captaincy worthy. I'm putting that out there, but give it to me like the deadline for game week 7 and I'll probably have it on Morris, to be honest. The next question I put is, how many players should we realistically be buying for this game week? Obviously, a lot of people already own probably one Luton player, like I said, Kabore or Bell. I definitely think maybe 2 if you own one of them, maybe going for another player like Morris is probably worth it, but I would say nowhere near we need to be like tripling up on these guys. I don't even think we should potentially be going for Burnley players at this point as well either. I think it is just go for like Morris, like I said. If we've got Kabore and he's still playing, great if he's kind of earned himself back into that team, or if we've got one of Bell as well. But I definitely don't think we should be looking for doubles or even potential triple ups in this double game week. I think Morris is the one. He's my prime target for this game week. If you already own Kabore, then I think that's fine. Just make sure that he is definitely playing going into these double game weeks, or maybe look to move him on to Bell just to try and get as many points as you can in double game weeks, as there aren't going to be as many this year, so we need to take full advantage of them. But I wouldn't say, with these teams both being newly promoted and not really showing signs of kind of positivity in terms of FPL and points, I definitely think 1 to 2 players is the max that you need. The next one, should I target Luton players for this game week? Obviously I kind of have already spoke about this. I think Luton are the team that we need to be targeting. I don't think it is Burnley. The double just isn't quite as good for them, unless we see, massive signs of improvement over the next few game weeks, with certain players maybe standing out going into those game weeks with our form. Then I think maybe at that point we do look at it. But at this moment in time, like I said, I think it is just Morris or one of the defenders that you already have. I potentially wouldn't even be looking to go out and get one like a Kabore or a Bell at this moment in time. Morris is the one. I think at 5.5 million, a lot of us have a 4.5 million striker that we might want to upgrade just for a couple game weeks. I think in my own team, I'm going to put the fixtures up on screen now. Luton's fixtures are really good from game week 5 all the way down to game week 7. As you can see, they take on Fulham in that run in game week 5. They have the highest XG conceded in the league as well and look piss poor at the back. And with a double game week in game week 7, I think Morris is potentially going to be coming into my team for game week 5 and then going into game week 7. That double game week, absolutely delicious as well. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts currently are, guys, around this double game week. Let me know how many players you think you're potentially going to be looking to get in your team and the teams that you are potentially targeting. If you've got any questions about your team for Game Week 5 or any questions in general about FPL, do get them in the comment section below, as we are trying to hit 2,000 subs on the channel as well. So please be sure to like, comment and subscribe. But yeah, thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and enjoy the rest of your day.